All right. Hey, folks. Welcome to the July 1st, 2025 SIG Windows community meeting. This is a recorded meeting and will be uploaded to YouTube, so please adhere to the CNCF Code of Conduct, right? Which basically translates to be nice and kind to everyone. All right, let's kick this meeting off. Right, so announcements. I don't think we have any announcements today. If anybody has any announcements, please let me know. Yunling, any announcements?
No.
Okay. We usually give some time for new contributors, but I don't see anyone, or if there is, I give folks a few seconds to introduce themselves. Is there anybody new here? All right, looks like there's no one. Let's kick the meeting off. We have a couple of topics on the agenda. I think Kulwant, you added these, so
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead, take it away.
Yeah. So like my questions are around Windows Server 2025 support. So like AWS have tested Windows like 2025 and like for us like we are satisfied with the testing results. So we wanted to release the support, but for us since like Kubernetes upstream SIG Windows hasn't announced the support, like so we just wanted to check with the community like if we can use AWS results uh, for for upstream announcement, and like what are the testing requirements. I mean, like we can try to work together and probably complete all the requirements and have the announce like sport out officially from Kubernetes and then eventually with EKS as well. So yeah.
So I don't think that's possible, Kulwant. I don't know if we have followed a pattern of, somebody testing 2025 or, previously it was, even the previous server version, right? The announcement always came kind of through like Microsoft channels and us having some end-to-end test in the upstream Kubernetes repo that's testing 2025. And I think you can only release or declare support for 2025 after we go through those steps. But I'm going to let folks from Microsoft speak up on this. But that's what we've been doing in the past, I know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. I just posted a link to the test signal grid. There's a specific suite for 2025, and you can see that there's still tons of failures and that we need to sort it out before we can officially declare the support for 2025.
All right.
That's what we're aiming for.
Like, so, like, is there a plan from AKS and Microsoft? Like, is there a goal, like, or ETA for yourself, like, that you are targeting to complete this, like, this sport, or like, can you
Yeah,
share?
that's a great question. It is being actively worked on, these test failures. And great that Ian King Ori is on the call here, and because his team is spending resources and time and work on this. And we do have an internal tracking bug. It's an internal one, it's not open on the GitHub. And assigned to the container networking team within Microsoft. We don't have a root cause yet. But yeah, there are resources actively working on this, but I don't have any ETA to share at this moment.
Okay. Okay. Another question is, let's say, like, for future, I mean, for us, I think at this point, EKS is not even enabled in this testing grid. I mean, EKS Windows. So in future, let's say we enable that support, I think then then like these kind of announcements can happen independent of cloud providers, right? Uh, like basically not have complete dependency on one particular cloud provider. What do you think about that? Like,
So if Amazon, if AWS wants to go ahead and declare support without Windows Server 2025 support being declared in the upstream Kubernetes community, I think that's a decision you folks have to make. Like, I know that when I used to work at Red Hat wouldn't make that kind of announcement because we always would say, hey, it has to come from upstream first, and then we would follow. But that's not something upstream is going to enforce, right? We can't dictate terms to, like, say, AWS saying, oh, you can't declare support for this. So that's, I think, a decision, the EKS team needs to make internally based on your comfort level that, given clearly Microsoft is saying there are open items that, have some issues, that have some bugs that need to be addressed.
all right.
It just comes down to what you folks want to do internally, right? I don't think we can say yes or no to that. If other folks can also speak up about this, but that's my take on the scenario.
Yeah. So actually my question was more around like, let's say like we like Amazon also work with community and have uh EKS Windows uh as a testing platform in test grid, right? Then probably like we will have two things being tested and one is green and one is like for example one is red currently and another one is green. Then I think uh, I think upstream will have more data points to decide on whether to announce the release or not. I think currently, since EKS Windows is not there, I think that is the biggest blocker, right? I was actually talking from that perspective.
Yeah, I think from what I understand, Kulwant, is if you want to add EKS
Hmm.
to the test grid,
Hmm.
it comes down to a question of resources. Where does the Amazon account come from? Who pays for it?
Hmm.
That's the kind of issues that we have, right? That's why, you find only Azure being tested. It's not because we don't want to test all platforms. It becomes a question of, where do we get?
Yeah, funding. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So if EKS is willing to provide all that, I don't think we're going to say don't add these tests to the test grid.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. But I think for now, I mean, like, yeah, I think my questions are answered. I mean, like, for now, I think upstream has to depend upon AKS because they only they have their testing enabled in their test grid, which makes sense. Uh, yeah, I think
And this is actually not a AKS. This is a CABZ. AKS doesn't really show this set of issues. Many of them are related to Gallico
okay.
working along with Windows Server 2025, and AWS probably is not using Gallico. So that's likely the reason that you don't see issues like this.
Yeah.
But the fact that there is still quite a lot of Gallico users, and if it doesn't work well with 2025 for whatever reason, it's hard for us to say that to give a green pass on 2025
Mm-hmm.
until we know what's going on.
All
Yeah.
right.
But Lynn, doesn't the CAPC clusters, they do run on Azure, right? Or unless I'm mistaken about that. I thought it runs.
Yeah, you can deploy
Yeah, okay.
CAPC on Azure,
Yeah.
but AKS is just a separate
Yeah,
Azure
true. It's
Kubernetes offering.
correct. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could try, I don't know how difficult it is to get CAPC on EC2. You could do that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't tried that, but I will have to look into. I thought like actually CabZ and AKS were the same thing, but
No, it's different.
all right. Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, I think AKS is the actual offering from Microsoft for managed Kubernetes clusters, and CAPC is the
Correct.
community side of
Oh,
things.
all right. Sounds good.
So yeah, I have a question for one. What's the network model ECAS AWS using? Is forwarding or L2 bridge?
L2 bridge.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, and also like for us, like we have our own CNI plugin, and we don't support. I mean, officially we don't support any other third-party CNI plugin. So for us, that's why the scenario or the use case
Mm,
or test cases are very limited. And
yeah.
yeah, and I think that was the thing for us, which is driving us uh, for this announcement. But yeah, like we also wanted to uh, like help community as well and try to get their thoughts on this. Like, how should we go about this? For now, I mean, like it's fine, but in the future as well, I think maybe there is a way to like improve this process. Uh, yeah, I think like I will have to bring these points back to my team and probably we can decide on something. But yeah, I think for now, thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Quick question for you, Kolwant. Is the Amazon CNI plugin available for use on non-EKS clusters, or does it have to be EKS only?
Currently, I think it is just EKS. I'm not sure if uh, like others use that cluster out of EKS environment. Uh, but yeah, like I think it's just EKS for now, as far as I know.
Okay.
So is your testing environment is CAPI compliance or I mean CAPG is just implement CAPI, Azure implement CAPI interface. So is your testing environment also CAPI compliance?
Actually, I'm not getting you. Are you saying CN, like which API compliance are you talking about? CNI?
CAPI, I believe. So it is CAPI. You can check that.
Can you
So
please type that word down? Like,
yeah, let me paste it on the chat. Let me find. If you are not familiar, maybe
oh,
probably you are
yeah.
not. Yes.
Yeah, actually, I'm not sure about this. Internally, like I have heard the word, but so internally, like I know our CNI plugin is using on Windows, I mean, SCS shim APIs to configure the network. But yeah, like I don't know about this. I will.
Okay.
So this is, I think, what Yunling is talking about, Kulwant, is the cluster API. And if you're using cluster APIs, if you're using the cluster API to bring up resources on, how do I put this, on EC2, for example.
Okay. What are the like? What does this specification defines? Like, what can you please share? What kind of cluster APIs are we talking about?
Oh, there's quite a bunch of interface. You can, I mean, you can Google this API. You will find a lot of resource.
Yeah, I just pasted the link there.
I'm also sharing it on the, you know.
Yeah, I think that's the. I mean, community will need some public interface. That's why we use this instead of ACAS or ECAS. That's the reason I think.
Uh, I think so some of the APIs might be common. I think like so there are so many tools to create EKS cluster, right? So those tools internally might be implementing this, but I am not 100% sure. Most probably they are. Uh, like but I think I will also have to read on this link you sent to actually answer that better. But as far as I am seeing, uh, the implementation, like the things might be different, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there is a note on the cluster API page that it does support EKS.
Okay.
And I think Yonling's point is if you want to add EKS, right, to the test grid,
Yeah.
one of the requirements could be that you use cluster API. You use a community provided API interface to actually bring up the cluster, rather than some internal APIs that are being used in AWS. Am I right, Yunling? Is that where you were going?
Yes, that's what
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think I will have to look into this. Like we have other tools, open source tools we use, but yeah, it would be nice to see this as well if we can leverage this for enabling EKS Windows in test grid. I think EKS is already there in test grid, but EKS Linux is being tested, but not EKS Windows. Thank you for typing that out. I will look into that. Thanks.
All right. If that's all, if there's anything else regarding this topic,
I think I'm good. Thank you, Arvind.
okay. But it's a great topic. I know a lot of people. Yeah, I'm again looking. There's no one from Red Hat again today because it'll be interesting to know what their internal viewpoint is about Windows Server 2025 and if Red Hat customers are asking for it. So hopefully they'll join in one of the meetings and we can figure things out with them, because they might be in the same boat that you are, Kulwant, where they have it running internally, test pass, but they're not able to declare support. It's unclear, right?
Thank you anyway, folks, like for chiming in and sharing your thoughts.
Oh, happy to help. Do folks have any other agenda items? If not, we can bring the meeting to the close and I can give back folks 5-8 minutes. All right, going once, going twice. All right, thank you everybody for your time. I will see everybody else on Slack now.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
all.
Bye.
Bye.